Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about fall. The weather's finally starting to cool a little, and our thoughts are turning to colorful leaves and flannels. Join us as we share how to welcome fall with all five senses. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're talking about fall. The weather's finally starting to cool a little here, and our thoughts are turning to colorful leaves and flannels. And while Julie's on vacation, Mindy and I thought this would be the perfect time to revisit a topic we talked about a couple of years ago, welcoming fall with all five senses. And Mindy, there was a lot in this episode.
Yes, and I enjoyed going back. Hearing us giggle like through the whole episode was just so fun. And then I'd already thought of some things, as I'm preparing for fall, but it was really nice to re-listen because, as always, Julie, our resident home person, and in every way has the best tips and tricks. So
Right. So we kind of started out with sight in that episode, like what do we do to get ready for fall? And I already said in that episode that I don't do a lot of seasonal decorating. And this year, I believe it or not, how could I do even less? I mean, I just don't really think I'm doing that much. And I don't know if that's because we moved a year ago. Like last year, I didn't really do much of all because we just moved in September. And you just don't feel like decorating seasonally when you don't even have your regular stuff put away. And this year, I'm still doing things that's my regular stuff, like trying to still get things the way I want them. So it's hard for me to think about dragging out fall decorations. But you've been in your house longer. I mean, are you feeling more settled? Do you get things ready?
I do a little more now, but you're so right. When you're in a new home, which we were, when I re-listened to this episode and hearing myself talk about the things that we were doing, I have referenced many times the major remodel of our front yard that we went through. When this episode was recorded, we were just about to embark on taking down the forest of trees in our front yard, putting in sod, doing all the landscaping. And I mentioned doing the front porch furniture.
Okay.
I am so grateful now that that has all been done now for 3 years.
Yes.
I have been enjoying that front porch swing, our beautiful yard, and we're down to being able to decorate for fall. So, because we're not doing the heavy lifting of moving. So I think that when you're in a new home, a new place, everything's so new. You don't need something new for the season. Everything's new.
Right.
And now I just think there's enough space that now we're going in, and I bought mums today, and we just have one place in the yard that Bryce is able to just put some mums in the ground. I have planters that I put seasonal flowers in. And now I'm ready and able and have the space to do it. So,
Yes. Since that episode, we moved. And in that episode, I referenced decorating with mums. And I see beautiful mum decorations in this neighborhood. The houses are closer together. You're walking closer to the houses, so you really get to see how they've decorated. And I was admiring some gorgeous ones this morning on my walk.
I do have a tip right now, actually.
Okay.
If you're listening to this episode, I recently was in TJ Maxx, and who doesn't love TJ Maxx and Home Goods?
I don't know.
They had some next level fall decor. They had things, so faux florals and faux greenery, faux shrubs, plants. There is a lot to be said about all of the new materials that are in these plants that you can do in a planter. They even had faux mums that looked like they were in a hanging basket.
Oh my goodness. And they were really realistic looking?
Oh, yes. I was stunned. So maybe go and check out your local Home Goods, TJ Maxx, and just peruse. There's a lot there. So I ended up with an indoor fall wreath that's kind of a burnt orange color. And I ended up with a new orange wreath for my front door that's really vibrant and bright.
Okay.
And I love both. So
that's wonderful.
Some simple ways to bring in fall.
This kind of segues into one of the other things we talked about in that episode was don't decorate for just the holidays, decorate for the season. And so I think purchasing some of that decor from TJ Maxx or using natural materials from outside, you can kind of keep those through Thanksgiving and maybe even a little bit beyond until you go ahead and put up your Christmas decorations.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So these things will cover several months. And then
Awesome.
they're faux. You can, if you have a place to store it, pull it out next year.
No, that's great. That's really good. And I start to think about being cozy in the fall. And Julie was talking about how she was kind of on a decluttering kick. And I can kind of get that way in the fall because you're preparing to bring in a bunch of stuff for gifts and Christmas decorations. And like you do want to declutter, but I was kind of contemplating what's that balance between decluttering and then also cozying up? Because in my mind, cozying up means bringing more things in. So did you think about that?
I did. And for me, it ends up that I'm just replacing some things.
Okay.
One of the things that I have replaced recently, and I attribute this to wanting to cozy up my house, adding some depth, is I really wanted something in green velvet in my house. I know that sounds ridiculous.
I love that, Mindy.
I saw it like in a restaurant in Auburn called Botanic. And I was like, I've got to put green velvet in my house somewhere. Okay.
Yes.
So whether that be a pillow or a curtain, well, I found some great green velvet panels on Amazon. And with my dining room, I had these kind of creamy linen panels and they were kind of gauzy. It's a great classic look, but I needed more depth. I wanted more color, substance, and texture. And so I put up these green velvet curtain panels and everyone that's come to the house has loved them. My mom immediately said, "Oh, that reminds me of Scarlett O'Hara."
Oh, I can definitely see that.
That's probably the biggest thing that I have done. And it really wasn't that expensive. But it is a deeper green. I didn't want anything lighter. So
yeah, well, it's perfect for cozying up for fall. I think in the fall and winter, we tend to have more meals in the dining room. So you'll be able to enjoy those the whole season.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I love that idea of replacing things. Maybe even your centerpieces. Maybe they were very flower heavy before, and now you want to bring in more muted colors and something that says fall. For these next few months.
After listening to us, it reminded me when Julie mentioned the nester and using things that are in your environment that are outside that, you don't have to go purchase. It was a great reminder. And I've started following the nester. Is it Michael Lynn Smith?
Yes.
I know we were talking about her name. That it reminded me to walk outside, just walk outside, look at branches, look at things that have dried that maybe are done blooming or the leaves are changing or there's a berry. So I'm definitely going to be making a trip to my magnolia trees and just replacing some of those greenery floral things that I have through the house and in vases, again, replacing. So that's not a lot, but it's just a different look to add in that fall look.
Yeah, I love that idea.
I have actually just recently tried some new scents though, at Target with Magnolia Home. They have some beautiful little candles, and again, I wanted that kind of mossy forest green, and they had some little jars in that color glass. And so just beautiful. And since they weren't that big, I was willing to kind of test the scent because, I mentioned in the episode that I'm just real sensitive to heavy smells, but maybe, give Target a run and walk into their Magnolia Home section. They've got some great fall candle looks.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. So it sounds like we need to make a run to TJ Maxx and then possibly Target.
Yeah.
What a burden. What a burden if we have to go there.
You what.
Well, I know we make mention of fall movies and songs.
If anybody else likes to kick it old school, some of my favorite go-to TV shows, if I need something mindless on the TV, I no longer put on Hallmark. I have found that they're doing rerun episodes of Matlock and Monk. And I love Matlock and I love Monk. So That hits just right for me right now.
Okay. That's funny. I don't know that I've watched a lot of Matlock, but I have seen Monk, and that is a good show.
I would call those shows my cozy blanket. Like
Yes.
if I'm looking for sounds, so those are the shows that are my go-tos. In the episode, Julie mentions Gilmore Girls, and that's a
Hmm.
big go-to for a lot of people. I still love Harry Potter movies in the fall, and I will be looking for an opportunity to watch You've Got Mail. That is the
Okay.
quintessential fall movie for me.
Yes, yes, I could see you definitely doing that. And what about the foods? Have you made chili yet?
I have not. Have
I have
you?
not made chili yet either, but it's only when we are recording this, it is September 30th. I
Right.
know I will make it when the calendar turns to October. I just don't know when.
After listening to us, I put the ingredients on my grocery list
Did you?
because I am preparing. Though, ironically, we've all just gone through Hurricane Helene. We were prepared to really get hit hard where we live. And so much so that we had to clear off our porches and decks and everything.
Wow,
Well,
okay.
the day before Helene hit, I baked all of that, all of the quick bread stuff. I made the pumpkin muffins, the 2 ingredient pumpkin muffins,
Okay.
which I will go ahead and give the recipe right now because you guys are probably wondering. It's 1 can of pumpkin puree. It's 1 box of spiced cake mix. You mix them together, cook it on 400 for about 16 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always add dried cranberries or you can add mini chocolate chips. You can even be all extra and sprinkle the top with powdered sugar.
Yeah.
But these pumpkin muffins are a fabulous fall go-to and they make the house smell fabulous.
Yeah. There are so many fall things. I associate like s'mores and fire
Mm,
pits and things like that for fall. So I know I'll keep the ingredients for that on hand. And then we talked about
yeah.
having hot chocolate and chili and just things that say fall to us.
Yes. And I actually have a listener request. We have been kind of on the lookout for a fire table
Oh,
because for an outdoor space, there's so many different fire tables out there. If you guys have a recommendation for us as we're kind of looking at, how to utilize our porches through the fall winter season, I would love a good recommendation on that.
yeah, listeners, if you have a recommendation of a good fire pit or fire table, that's definitely something that this time of year we start thinking, oh, I want one.
Yes, I because you said it, like fire in the fall,
Hmm.
that's exactly what we want. And so yeah.
Fall activities. I never did get to a pumpkin patch last year, and I felt very naked without that activity. It seems like that's a
Yeah.
very like something that we do every fall. So while I was re-listening to that episode, I texted my daughter and said, "Hey, let's get something on the calendar for taking the grandchildren to a pumpkin patch." So we did. So that was good because you have to really plan that out in October because October goes by so fast.
hmm Yeah, it does. Oh, so you went from your youngest 2 girls wanting to still go to now you have granddaughters and a
Yes.
grandson
Right.
that you've just gone into the next generation with the pumpkin patch.
Yeah, so I do want to do that this year. I know you're big into football in the fall. That's one of your activities.
Oh, yes. And that's also with what we're watching and also part of our fall decor because we have a Tennessee flag hanging out front, which
Okay.
is orange and white. So it goes with my orange wreath.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah.
but yes, football in the fall is what we're doing.
Uh-huh.
I'll say something that I'm really proud of myself for doing last year, and I'm determined to make this a habit for the rest of my life because it was such a wonderful situation. Was that fall is now my signal to start Christmas shopping, and I know
Okay.
I'm bringing this up early, but I was done Christmas shopping last year by the end of October, and I can't tell you what a joy it was to even go into November, to be able to enjoy the thankful season. And I was not stressed about Christmas shopping. So
That's
I'm already
awesome.
starting to ask all of my people for some gift lists. And I'm
Yes.
going to get started on that now.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the first year Amazon has ever done this, or maybe I just didn't notice it last year, but I noticed that they're having Prime Days in October. And I think that will push a lot of people to do Christmas shopping a little earlier because you might want to take advantage of that. And I would love for once in my life to not be shopping on 2 days before Christmas, looking at what can be shipped to my house by Christmas Eve. And so I really do want to make that one of my goals this fall, is maybe not be done by the end of October, but even if I was done by Thanksgiving, I mean, I would consider that to be a huge win.
Yes. Well, I'll say if your kids are wanting nice high-end clothes or certain brands that they like, you can find things on clearance right now that you can still give and they could still wear in the winter. So not everything is a tank top and a pair of shorts. There's definitely items out there. But I'll say, along with the Amazon Prime Days, Walmart, on my app, I keep seeing they're advertising Walmart deals, which are just some cheaper items. And that's October, I think, 8th through the 13th. But every time I open my app to do a grocery order, it's advertising that. So
so they must
there could be some
pairing
good
with
deals.
Amazon, like competing. Because I think Amazon's is like the 8th and 9th, or the 8th through the 10th.
8th and 9th sounds right to me.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I keep seeing that everywhere.
Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about landscaping earlier, and I wanted to ask you about your project that you talked about. You had just been it's not reseeding, like you put down new sod in your yard, I think, and you were redoing your porch. And so now, 3 years later, how has that all come in? Is it all living? And
a lot of the shrubs have had to be replaced, and that's only due to deer eating things.
Oh, okay.
Or finding better spots in the yard for the shrubs. But we have learned that Bryce's, air quotes, second job is to be our landscaper.
Okay.
And he loves nothing more than to cultivate. We have one major floral bed in the front that he is constantly picking through, cleaning up, replacing things. So we have tried a multitude of different shrubs and florals in there. The sod has stayed the same. It's relegated to kind of this one berm in the front. And then kind of along our driveway, he continues to add shrubbery and ornamental trees and things like that will bring color throughout the year. So it's actually just continued to grow and grow. And we've made more layers. And every time I go on a trip, I come home, and the way he welcomes me home is there's a new tree in the yard, or there's new shrubs in the yard. And I just love it. So our yard is constantly kind of evolving.
Yeah.
We got the foundation set, Marie, and we've just been playing ever since.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you say that there's a constant rotation, because being in a new house this spring, I planted so many things to see what would grow, because I didn't really know how much sun the front of my house would get. And it actually gets less than what I thought. So a lot of the things I planted never bloomed. Like maybe the green parts of them grew, but they didn't get enough sun to actually flower. So I'm kind of trying to learn like what will work there, but it is trial and error. And this is the time of year when, if you want to plant new shrubs, they actually have a really good chance of taking. It's not so hot. The ground is a little more moist. You're going to get some rain. So I am going to be heading to Lowe's just about every week, probably, to see what they're putting out up until there's a freeze, and just seeing what could I try in my yard this year.
Well, that's a great reminder to head to Lowe's. And I know you've mentioned this before, buying things that they're clearancing out at Lowe's, because if they have, for instance, a rose bush and it's, no longer got leaves on it, but you can tell it's still alive. It's not beautiful right now, but if you bought it right now, it would come back next year. Like if you go ahead and plant that, but you could get some really good deals too on maybe some summer items that would be, perennials. Or something like that will just come back next year.
Yeah. So a lot to think about. You have to plan. I think Julie had mentioned that if you really want tulips or other things that will pop up in the spring, now's the time to start thinking about those.
Yes.
So a lot to consider in the fall. There's never a time, except maybe in the dead of winter, when there's not something you could be doing in a garden.
I know. And try to have fun with it, because it is very constant.
Yeah. So I think we've covered all the senses. We've covered sight, smell, listening, taste.
textures, feeling.
Oh, yes. Touch.
Touch. Yeah, we're good. I think we got them all.
Yes, we
And
got
if
them all.
we miscounted, don't worry about it.
There might be new senses that
That's
you didn't even
right.
know until you heard this episode.
Yeah.
But listeners, we're going to go ahead now and play this episode because it's a great reminder of how to get into the fall spirit using your senses. I think you'll get a lot of tips. You'll hear from Julie. And we look forward to talking with you all next week when we're back again.
Yeah, I'm really excited about talking about it from this perspective because it's really so much more than decorating, because I find that I'm doing less decorating these days.
Yeah.
And it's doing a lot of things that just a lot of different things that help us kind of tune in to the season.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's dive into the sight part, because I do think that that is what we notice first. And what changes do we make in our homes and our lives, to our wardrobe or, just whatever. Maybe we put some decorations on our car. Some people actually decorate their cars for the season, so who knows? But what kinds of things do you do in your home or your life that appeal to your sight when you're thinking about fall? And I know that one of the first things that comes to mind for me is all the mums that people put out on their porch steps and their front porches. And I just love seeing that. I went to Lowe's yesterday and there are so many varieties you can choose from.
Yep. That was the first thing I was going to say. I admittedly have been not excited about fall, but something happened this week. And I finally went and I bought mums, and I got them not only for my front porch, but for my back porch, because usually I think, oh, I just need to, have a nice entrance. Well, now I'm like, but I actually want to see those on the back porch too, because we do so much outdoor living here. Everyone in the house was cheering when they saw that Mom finally went and bought mums, and they're just so beautiful. I mean, they really are.
Mm-hmm. There's
they
so many
really
colors.
Are. I just don't have great luck with them, so I'm more of a pumpkin girl because I know they'll last till Christmas.
That's so
and
funny,
I thought of
Julie.
you, Mindy, because I tend to go with more white pumpkins or those kind of bluish green pumpkins.
Yes.
Because orange just doesn't go great in my house with the colors. But Home Depot had bright lemon yellow pumpkins, Mindy, and I thought, Mindy could use these. Yes. Have you ever seen a yellow pumpkin?
No. Is it real?
Yellow. Yes.
It might be like a cross with a squash or something.
Yeah.
I am going back. I just came from Home Depot. I'm going back. Julie, thank you for that.
I know. I thought you'd like that.
Yeah.
But I don't do as much decorating, but for fall, especially inside, because like I said, the orange just doesn't go with my color scheme, but I never leave off my front door. Like every season I change something on there, and it's gotten simpler and simpler over the years. I have these blue and white ginger jar hangers, like wood cutouts. And now all I do is change the ribbon on them. So I had like a pink and white gingham bow with a little hydrangea bloom tucked in. I just pulled that off and put kind of a dark orange with a little bittersweet twig tucked in it. So that's all I have to do.
That's beautiful.
And much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I see some people decorate their mailboxes, and I mean, they really go all out.
So you mentioned cars. The other day, Bryce and I were working in the yard, and somebody came and stopped at the end of our driveway. And I wasn't sure who it was at first, but I noticed their car first because it was a Jeep. They had the top, open and the sides off and everything. And they had a skeleton attached to the front of their Jeep. And I joked that was the timeout chair.
Right. Yes, I have noticed several skeletons in yards as I walk the dog, and the dog was actually growling at like a 15-foot one the other day.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, I mean, this is the time of year when not only people start to put out their fall decorations, but they also put out a lot of Halloween decorations. So if you have smaller kids, this is a fun time of year to have them out because there's usually something new popping up every few houses that they're interested in.
Yes.
Yeah, I love to see the yard that just goes all out. Every square inch is covered, and I think it's fun because I like to look at that, but I never want to do that.
That's
so I'm
how
glad
I feel,
that somebody does it.
It is so fun to see, but we can't do all that. But I love what Julie said, because that was something that I thought about, is that the things that I do now to decorate for each season have gotten simpler. it's kind of nice, like her just, changing the color of the bow or whatever, on the front door. That I feel like I have a small like tote box that has just a few fall decorations. And it's just like a couple of leaf garlands that I can kind of put here and there. I have a couple of little pumpkins. You can't live in Knoxville, Tennessee for any length of time and not totally embrace the color of orange.
Right.
So, so I do kind of have a fondness and a new love and respect for orange. And so I actually see myself incorporating that. Whereas before I would have been like, never any orange. And then I have a little sign that says, give thanks. And to me, I'm done and good with the decorating once that give thanks is up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I definitely can appreciate all of the decor. I like to look at it. I even like to look at it in magazines or on Instagram, but I don't have to do it anymore. And I read a lady that I've started following. She said, the people that have the 25 pumpkins trailing down their front porch step with mums interspersed. And it's like, I can appreciate that without having to do that myself now. So
right.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, and what works for your house. So I love all the mums going down the steps. But what's happened to me when I've tried that is we inevitably get like 95-degree days and all my mums burn out because I don't have a covering over the porch. Or we get like all this wind and rain and my mums are whipped off the porch and fall down a couple feet and break. And so either way, they never look the way I had planned. So I already know, don't try.
I know, and they're not, it's not cheap to do that. So I just can't justify it. So I thought, well, a pumpkin will live a little longer than.
Well, Marie has the mum graveyard going on. Maybe you're preparing for Halloween, Marie. But we did have to have a family discussion where I was told, Mom, not to buy the pumpkins too early because it is so warm down here. They're going to mold before Halloween. So you need to wait. So go ahead and buy the mums, but let's wait on the pumpkins. So I can't buy pumpkins just yet.
Yes. Well, and I meant to look this up before we recorded and I forgot, but my daughter told me there is a trick that she read about on a blog, and I'm sure that anyone can Google it. If you want to buy pumpkins now, apparently you can wash or soak them in some kind of bleach and water mixture, which will then allow them to last.
No way.
Yes. And I meant to look it up for listeners and I forgot.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, Marie, though, because we can figure that out. I mean, I'm just glad there's a way.
There must be something on the pumpkin that the bleach removes or does something to it.
Kind of mold or something.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And another thing you can do, which I have done, I love the look of mums coming down porch steps, but like I said, they never stay that way for long. But you can actually plant your mums right in your flower beds and they'll actually last longer and do a little bit better because they're not getting all dried out in the pot, and they'll last
and they
a
might
long
come
time.
back. They might come back next year.
I think I actually did have one that came back the following year.
They're supposed to be perennials.
Yeah.
It depends on where you live, but
okay.
Yeah. So you might try just planting them right in the ground and enjoying them on your walkway up to your steps.
Good idea.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you do that just you love to see in the fall? Anything else you do in your home?
I realized that I do a sort of fall cleaning, almost like a spring cleaning, that I find myself like, because I'm getting ready to nest in my home for longer periods of time. Like we're spending more time. I even brought out my Lysol can. Like, I don't know, I'm washing the blankets, for the living room. But windows are very important this time of year. I'm noticing because you're going to be inside looking out a little bit more. And there's something about the glow of the sun that, first of all, shows you all the dust bunnies you've missed. But second of all, shows you spots on your windows. And so I want to enjoy looking outside if I can't be outside. So a lot of cleaning, windows, dusting, preparing to get cozy and snuggle in the house.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, Minnie, but I've been on this decluttering binge for about 2 days now. And I have a big pile down at the street. I have a pile going to Goodwill. And I just think of with the holidays coming on, it seems kind of like a full time. And I thought, my house is already full.
Yes.
You've got people coming in, gifts coming in, decorations. Like I've got to find a place for a huge tree at Christmas. And so I just want to kind of clear things out. Like, 'cause I still want to be able to have a empty spot on the coffee table.
Right.
So I feel like it's a good place to start, kind of with a little bit more minimal stuff out.
And Julie, this might not be the place to bring this up, but maybe it is. I don't know. Talking about windows, how did I see on Facebook Marketplace you are selling the curtains that you put so much work into? You want free windows, I guess.
I do, yeah. When I was decluttering one night, I was up till 1 a.m. doing this, and I said, I'm going to take down my curtains. There are these beautiful wool crewel curtains that I made probably 10 years ago, and I was just going to take them down to see if I liked the look. And by 10:30 that night, I had sold them.
I couldn't believe it when I saw them pass above my feet. I thought, I remember when she made those.
I sold them to the lady who cuts my hair. She goes, I want those. And
wow.
So when John got up the next morning, I was like, I hope you don't miss those curtains because they're gone. And
job,
the
Julie.
first day, I thought, oh, it kind of looks like we've just moved in. That when you're used to something there. But now I love it because I was complaining that our house is kind of dark because we have that porch on the back, and it really lightens up the house a lot. So for now, that's going to stay. The windows are going to stay bare.
Yeah, and you don't need curtains there for like privacy because, like you said, you have your porch.
No.
So yeah, that's really cool. I can't wait to see it. But I've been meaning to mention it to you, and when Mindy brought up windows, it jogged my memory.
Yeah, I did a whole little rearrange, so it was fun.
Yeah, so you really have been on a whole decluttering kick at your house.
Oh yes.
That feels so good. Like
John just said, please don't go into my closet. And I even asked him, I said, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but do we need to keep this piano? He said, yes, we need to keep our piano.
Oh, no.
I was like, well, it's taken up a lot of real estate, and you hear me play the same 10 songs. Are you not tired of it yet?
I just texted Bryce, can I hire someone to hang the TV above the fireplace because I want to free up that spot?
I know.
And he tried to call me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm podcasting.
Someone's coming at 2:00 today.
He said, just hold that thought. Let's talk about it some more. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, John is literally afraid he'll come back and there'll be major things he cares about missing.
Well, you can't move a piano out by yourself at 10:30 at night, so he can rest easy there.
Right. Physically impossible.
Years ago, I probably would have tried.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I do love my piano. It's just, it does take up a lot of space, and
right.
I'm trying to weigh how much it gets used by how much it takes up.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. All right. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of different things that we do for our eyes. What do we do for our sense of smell? I feel like the most quintessential smell, I know a lot of people would say pumpkin spice, but for me, fall smells like cloves. Like if I smell cloves, I think of fall. What do you guys, what's your like most quintessential smell for fall?
Well, some of the scents I have going, because I love everything to smell. All my products have to smell.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I do try to coordinate them in the fall, So I love the Mrs. Meyer's hand soaps and spray cleaners. And for fall, they have Mom and Acorn. And those are really good. And it's kind of a clovey, spicy scent. I am not one to buy the candle that says Granny's pumpkin pie. Like, I don't want a food smell necessarily. I just like something, I don't know, spicy or,
I have never once thought about matching my cleaning products to the season. This is a new concept for me, Julie.
The reason I'm saying that is I like to use Febreze and a scented dish soap. Well, Febreze is always like April Fresh or Fresh Linen or April Flowers or Ocean Breeze. And I thought, well, that doesn't go as fall. So I said, how disappointing that they haven't gotten on the fall bandwagon. So I looked in Target, and their new, well, I guess it's new. It's a new scent called Wood. And it's just a woodsy, earthy Febreze scent. So I bought it.
See you buying that. Yeah.
So now I've got my scents all coordinated. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like the wood?
I do. Okay. And then another product. Have you ever used Everspring? It's kind of oxymoron there that it's a fall scent, but the brand is Everspring, but they have a clove and nutmeg. So I bought their dish
now
soap.
that would smell good.
Yeah. It's not super strong or overwhelming, but it's just very fallish. So every time, I pump that at my kitchen sink, it just makes me think fall is here.
Oh my goodness.
That's so funny because I always buy unscented
I know you do.
laundry soap and like soap and all that stuff. So it's never even occurred to me, but maybe I should give a fall scent a try.
I'm glad Julie went first on this because she does way more than it sounds like Marie and I do.
I'm all about the smells.
My imagination to all kinds of things. No, I have one candle that makes me, and it's the same one every year. And it's literally in my cabinet. And I moved them from the other house because they're only half burnt.
Okay. They last for years.
It's just the Glade apple cinnamon. That is the quintessential smell because it's got the apple smell, but I'm more of a spicy too. So I love hearing about you guys with the little spice in there. It can't be too floral. Actually, I can't do a lot of candles in my house, and I don't burn candles except in the fall and winter because there's just something cozy about it. But I can't burn them for long because it like clogs our allergies. Like it messes with our sinuses. And so even with all these chemical free, I have bought all kinds of candles. My mom said we need to try the warmers because the little melts or whatever that she said that those don't bother her allergies. So anyways, apple cinnamon is the smell. And that's it. And you know those little brooms at the grocery store that you realize it's fall because they're cinnamon.
Yeah.
They're
cinnamon.
like
I love those.
Yeah.
I don't buy any, but I like to smell them.
My mom will visit and she will buy me a broom and like hide it on top of the refrigerator.
Oh, okay. Hiding it's a good idea.
Smell the cinnamon. Because I'm not hanging the broom.
Because I always think, where would I put that?
No, just hide it. Or they have like pine cones, that you can put in a bowl.
Right.
And you can get like a scented pine cone.
Right.
But no, like that's kind of it. That is the smell. The only other smell that I love is I start baking breads a lot more just because I want to smell them. So I think we're going to talk about food later, but breads came into my smell category because sometimes I will bake them just to smell it.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Well, maybe I just have more bad smells to cover up at my house than y'all do.
I don't think so, Julie.
Well, let's talk about our sense of touch and the texture changes that we might make. I actually make very few of these. When my kids were little, some of them, as it got colder, like to have flannel sheets. So I used to have like flannel sheets and regular sheets for that person's bed. And in the fall and winter, I would put the flannel sheets on. Sometimes I have some heavier blankets that I just put out like for around the couch, or I might get out my electric blanket and put it next to the couch, my electric throw. But I don't know if I do a lot of texture changes. Julie, maybe if you tell me what you do, it might spark some inspiration here.
Tell us what we need to do.
I mean, this isn't that much, but I just brought out all my wool blankets and most of them are plaid.
Okay.
So
that's a good
I
idea.
draped one over my couch because I have a brown leather couch. So it just looks brown. And this way I get a little color on the back of the couch. And then I drape one over each of the club chairs in our den. So every chair has a blanket. And then I have a little basket in the corner where I have a pile of blankets.
Okay, let me just stop you right there because, I'm picturing when I used to have leather furniture. Those blankets draped would have stayed the way I wanted them draped about 5 minutes. If you sat on the couch, the blanket falls against the slipperiness of are you forever having to make them?
Especially when you have a large dog that sits on the couch. And I go in and he's thrown the blanket and both pillows on the floor.
Yes, that's what I'm picturing will happen if I do this. But really, you are a warrior. You are gonna put out those blankets.
I just walk through every time I walk through the den, I pick up a pillow and a blanket. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's how she gets her squats in every day.
Yeah.
Okay, so go back to your basket with the blankets, yes?
I just have a basket with blankets that are a little bit older, like we could take them outside on the porch, we could sit around the fire with them. So, and then that's about it as far as textures, other than I can use this time to talk about this lady that I started to follow on Instagram. And Marie, I know you know who it is because you've mentioned one of her books before. She wrote The Cozy Minimalist.
Yeah.
Her name is McQuillan Smith.
Yes, her first name's so hard to say that I wasn't going to try and do it.
I'm assuming that's right, McQuillan.
I think it's Michaelin, but I don't know. I think it was something about a son or something, but I could be wrong.
Well, I noticed she signed it MYQ like Mike, so maybe
I think it is.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the listeners, you correct us.
Yeah. Well, on Instagram, her name is The Nester. And so I did buy her new book, and it's all about seasonalizing your home for every season, and then how to host and have it ready, to be hospitable. And one of the things she talks about is seasonalizing your home first before you ever decorate for like a holiday or whatever. And her big thing is going out and harvesting things from nature. So she brings in like, dried sticks or twigs in a vase, or dried berries, or a big branch with colored leaves on it, or pine cones or acorns or anything like that. And then she said, then you might just need one or two holiday specific items, like a jack-o'-lantern or your Christmas tree, and that'll be enough. And I thought, that is really a good idea. And then you don't feel like, oh, I'm decorating for one day. It's for that whole season,
I love that.
And I think you might be more willing to do it if you thought this is going to last from September through November. Because I don't necessarily want to put out a jack-o'-lantern today, It seems too early. And I thought about you, Marie. You said you don't like to store things, because I know I have a huge storage system for all my decor, and I'm kind of slowly going through that and getting rid of it, and just using natural things, what God has created, just bring it inside, So I really liked that tip.
I know.
I
That's
love that you
one.
said that. In the South, magnolia trees are everywhere. And so I actually just cut like a big branch off my magnolia tree to put in this vase in the middle of my dining table. And I love it so much. It's kind of wild, but it's so like the big glossy leaves, and the color is just beautiful. But I'm going to try to use the magnolia leaves more throughout the season. But I love hearing that, because then you aren't storing anything.
Yeah. And Mindy, I was going to mention magnolia because I think so many people think Christmas.
Yeah.
But they look good at every season. Like we used them in a fall wedding. They look great at Christmas. They look great in the spring. They're just a real classic design element. So if you're only thinking of them at Christmas, you're really missing out.
Love that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads us to maybe what we do that's more holiday specific, because Julie, you said you don't really want to put out like a jack-o'-lantern right now, but are there certain Halloween or Thanksgiving specific items that you do put out? I'm going to put this, I don't know if I have anything, but I hope that someday I'm going to inherit these carved pilgrim people that my mom puts out every year. So shout out to my parents, put me down for those.
I have some of those, Marie. That's what I put out for Thanksgiving. It's kind of simple. Like that's my one thing that comes out every Thanksgiving. And then I have a little gourd jack-o'-lantern. So it's real because it's a real gourd, but it lasts, forever. So I put him out on the back porch. So
yeah. It's funny that they have like personalized pronouns, him and her.
Yeah. Well, one more thing that I do is when my kids were little, I had special books that I would put away and bring out just at holidays. So I had a whole stack of Christmas books that we only read, during that season. And now on an adult level, I do that. And so for fall, I just put out my pretty copy of Jane Eyre. I think I've mentioned before, I like to read that in the fall. I probably won't read it again this year because I feel like, it was too soon.
It by heart.
But the cover is just beautiful. So it's just sitting on my coffee table. And that's one of the things that the Nester suggested, like open a book to a pretty fall scene or something, that even that can be an element of decor. And I think I set out The Crucible and The Scarlet Letter. I mean, what
uplifting titles.
No, The Crucible is about the Salem witch trials. You can't get any more fall than that.
Well, I know, but you can get more uplifting.
I did put a poem book on my table. I have several poem books sitting in between, places.
Here is how lazy I am about fall decorating. So I was having book club last night, and it's out on our porch, but I thought, well, people might pass through to go to the bathroom, so I need to straighten up the living room. So I'm like, oh, this Country Living magazine has a pumpkin on it. Throw it on the coffee table. Decorated.
Bill Marie.
So I'm not getting out copies of pretty books. I'm just like, does this magazine match fall? Lay it out.
Well, my mom used to change out her pillow covers.
Oh, good idea.
She would just replace, or put like a cover on her couch pillows to make, more seasonal changes that way. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like in the South, I'm not going to be doing much to our beds or to anything else. We're not going into like a heavy winter. Yay. But like, I am going to put like the blanket at the end of the bed, to cover just your feet. But otherwise, I mean, we would be hot if I changed out our bedding. Yeah. So,
well, and the pillow cover idea is so good because you're just storing the covers. Mm-hmm. You don't have to store whole pillows.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's a great idea.
It's so funny because I bought 4 new pillow covers last fall with the intent that I would then replace them in the spring, but I just ended up leaving them on the whole year. So it's just so fun. And I didn't do like a fall pattern, but I did more like a furry texture. But then I was like, no, this works for what? It's already June. We'll just wait now.
Well, there's your texture, Marie. Fur is a big thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like I bought them last fall to add texture, but then I never ended up switching them out for spring.
So you just wait long enough and it comes back around.
It's true. Right. It's totally true.
All right. Well, there is something that our family does. And I always mention this, but we always have a thankful tree that starts the day after Halloween. And we go through the month of November. And so I think I told you guys I had to get rid of my 3 Christmas trees, like the big Christmas trees when we moved. And so just last week, I finally found a tree and bought a new Christmas tree. It should be here today. Oh, wow. And I'm so excited because I usually will put the Christmas tree up the day after Halloween, and then we have our fall leaves that we put on it. And so I am already planning for that, but it's gotten simpler. I was kind of glad I got to rebuy a tree because I used to have that 12-foot thing that I'd have to get the ladder and secretly I was not sad when I had to get rid of it because I did not buy the same thing again. Again, with allergies, we always do a fake tree. I found a great one. Actually ended up going with Amazon, but it's skinny. It's 7.5 foot.
Perfect. You can do it yourself.
Yes, it's very doable. And like Julie said at the beginning, I think everything is just getting simpler. So
yeah. This makes me laugh. Do you remember when your grandmother finally went to the tabletop tree?
Yes.
I feel like that's where we're headed.
My mom only does that Charlie Brown tree some years with like the 1 branch or the 2 branches and 1 ornament.
Yeah.
I never understand, like, what is with you? Like, why wouldn't you be into Christmas when you're 85? Why are you just doing this little tree?
Why aren't you on a ladder, Grandma? Hanging stuff on that tree.
I just didn't get it. Now I do.
Right. Well, let's talk about our sounds and our hearing. Are there any movies or TV shows or music that you guys like to watch or listen to in the fall? I had 0 for this question. There's nothing that I rewatch or reread that's fall specific, but I'm interested in what you guys have.
Oh my goodness. Think Gilmore Girls in the fall?
I don't. I mean, if I think of Gilmore Girls, I picture them with coffee and cute scarves and, but I don't think of rewatching it in the fall.
Oh, that's that theme song. I love that theme song. Yes. And I think because maybe the first time I watched it was on my porch in the fall. So it just makes me go back to that. And I just like anything set in New England, and it's such a picturesque town. It seems like it's always perpetually fall there, you know.
I guess if
Mhm.
there was one movie I would watch in the fall, it's Marley and Me, because I love where they end up living. Is it in Vermont? That's
Yeah, I
so
think so.
fall. So that would be the only
Oh,
thing I would
wow.
picture. But what else? I don't know.
I remember the Titans for me because you got to have some football. In the fall.
Yeah, that's a good
And
idea.
that's one of my favorite movies. Is
It's
Remember
such
the
a good
Titans.
one.
And if you want something a little spooky, The Village is great.
Mm.
Have you seen that?
Is that a movie?
I don't think I have.
Mhm. Oh my gosh!
No, what is it?
Okay, you both have to watch it, and I can't tell you anything about
Is
it.
it black and white?
No.
Okay,
Maria.
good. Because I'm not watching it if it's
Good.
black and white.
It is an excellent movie. I'd love to see what you guys think about it because it's one of those you can only watch one time.
Oh,
The
okay.
Village.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I say that I could watch.
But
it
yet
again in
you
the fall.
rewatch it every fall.
Well, no, I don't rewatch it. I just think about like if you haven't seen that movie, it's a great fall movie.
Okay.
Mm.
How about Children of the Corn? Is it similar to that?
Oh
That's
my
what I'm
gosh.
thinking.
It's not like horror at all. It's
Okay,
a very
okay.
cleverly done movie.
Okay.
I mean, there are corn stalks. You know, that's kind of
I
fall.
know, that's what I'm thinking.
Forget about all death.
Halloween and Chucky and
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
no, those aren't my kind of movie.
There is one movie that I have to watch every fall. In fact, I called Abby a couple weeks ago and I said, hey, I am dying to, it's time. It's time for the movie, but I am going to wait until you come. So Abby's going to come visit me for a couple days. And one of the main reasons is so we can watch You've Got Mail.
Oh, I love
It is my fall movie. Every fall, we have to watch You've Got Mail. And something else that I noticed that I was craving was Harry Potter.
Mm.
We've pulled the books out. My son is rereading. I think I'm going to start rereading them. I literally put on one Harry Potter movie every single day last week. I was kind of doing other things, but the music, like listening to that theme music is so beautiful. And it just was like the sound of fall, of listening to their British accents and hearing the theme music and everything. And I just love Harry Potter. So
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
One night in 2020, we built a fire in the fire pit and drug our big screen TV out there in the backyard and watched a Harry Potter movie.
Did you?
It was so fun.
Oh,
Yeah. We've watched those in a marathon kind of setting twice now, or three
Yes.
times. So
mhm.
I'm sure we'll do that again. And I do love any movie set in New York City in the fall.
Mhm.
So that's what
Mhm.
makes, I think, You've Got Mail so
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
Yeah, You've Got Mail. I think it appeals to everyone our age. My girls went somewhere where they showed it, and I said, "Oh, you're gonna love it." And then when I picked them up, did you love it? Oh, that was the
what are you
worst
talking about?
movie, Mom. Why do you even like that? It just didn't translate to them, I guess.
Kids don't understand dial-up internet.
No. And maybe
You've
Meg
Got Mail.
Ryan wasn't as cute to them, but she's adorable to
Yeah.
us.
What's up with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Do either one of you make playlists for the seasons?
no. I have not done that, Julie, but how would you decide if a song is fall or not?
Well, it just either maybe it came out in the fall when it originally came out, or
Okay.
it has fall in the title, or it has, like, I love George Winston and he has an album for each season. So
Really?
he has an
Okay.
autumn playlist. But thanks to you, Mindy, I now have Spotify Premium, so I can share my playlist.
Oh.
Always interesting.
So
I'm
could
gonna
listeners
look for
find it
you.
then? They could find your fall playlist? Okay,
Yeah.
great. What's it
It's,
under, like Julie's fall playlist?
I think it's fall 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll share it. But
Okay, awesome.
and a lot of them you may think this has nothing to do with fall, but it's either really a happy song
Mm-hmm.
that I enjoy driving down the road in my little Mini Cooper with the windows down,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be a very melancholy, like to me that's
Mhm.
what makes a fall song.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
it's not all just that it would ring true for you in the fall, but it does.
Mhm.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
You're
Yeah.
going to be sorely disappointed if you look at my playlist. They're all about my workouts. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
there's like hip hop and pop and stuff like that. And I've really done my best to find the clean versions of these songs because I've realized I've only heard the radio versions. And on Spotify Premium, I'm having a hard time finding clean versions.
Oh,
really.
wow. Okay.
So you may not want to look at my playlist.
Okay.
And is everything like twice as fast? So
What is Mindy listening to? No, it's from my workouts.
Well, let's talk about taste because I know we mentioned earlier in the episode how much food plays a role. And I just made my first crock pot of chili last night. So fall is officially here.
Yay.
What do you guys make that signals fall?
chili and soups are probably the big one. I mean, I've made chili, and then this week I did homemade like a vegetable soup, beef vegetable soup.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good.
So yeah, that's usually kicks everything off. But
I really go to town and I bought a box of Swiss Miss packets.
Mm-hmm. It's hot chocolate season.
At the request of my son. So I bought Swiss Miss. Yay! And then
Mindy, I wasn't even laughing at that. I was thinking, yes, that's what people should do. But I guess some people might be elevated above Swiss Miss.
I'm sorry, just compared to Julie, I do feel like I'm slacking. Majorly slacking.
and I would have the hot chocolate year round. So.
Oh yes, my mom does too, Julie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to buy Swiss Miss. And then I just bought all these different flavor of quick breads. And so, like I said, I love the smell of making bread. And the other day, something that I ask my family a lot is, what was your favorite thing about today? And the other day, Jacob literally said, I loved the bread that you made. I was like, that's your favorite thing today? So guess what I'm going to be doing?
I'm making that bread until you tell me to stop.
Over and over and over. So I even went to Walmart, and Walmart actually did a really great job with this the other day. I was stunned. But they always have the stuff in the middle aisle, like the seasonal baking things. And so in the fall, I noticed they actually had a lot of new things in that seasonal area. And so I typically only do a Walmart grocery pickup, but I happened to be in there the other day and I was really glad that I was, because I found some great quick bread mixes that I haven't found before. And of course, they're so reasonably priced and they're very good. So way to go, Walmart.
I'm going to have to check that out because I do like to pick up some new fall things. And a lot of times a store end cap or something like that will make you get inspired.
Yeah.
I did buy a can of pumpkin and a cake mix, Mindy, to try your pumpkin muffins.
Nice.
They were really good. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I was even like, I would just kind of reheat one a day and put a little butter on it. It was so good. And they're filling because of all the pumpkin.
Yes. Listeners, if you're wondering what we're talking about in our Aldi episode, last week we talked about a 2-ingredient muffin that Mindy shared. So go back and listen to that episode or check out the show notes for that. Okay, let's move into some fall activities that we get excited about. My daughter, my oldest, she's already said, when are we planning our annual trip to the pumpkin patch? So, my kids are still excited about that. So that is something that we will do. And this year I'm excited because we are going to the beach in the fall, which I have not done. My girls are seniors and we have not been to the beach in the fall. Well, in October, when you can actually still really use it. We haven't been since they were in first grade. So it's a long time. And I'm really excited for an October beach trip because it has a different feel, I think, than a summer beach trip.
And it really is the best time to be there. It really
That's
is.
what everyone says. So
the water's beautiful. You're not blazing hot. It's just perfect.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And we're going to be spending a week. Our school system actually has a week-long fall break again for the first time, I think, in forever. And so we skipped our summer beach trip so that we could go in the fall this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I really wanted to try it out.
That.
Yeah. So what are you guys excited about for this fall?
Well, our house is full-blown football. And we happen to have moved to a town that is all about football. And so I feel like everything down here, there's so many different parties to go to, games to go to. That is the talk of the town, is football. And so that fits right in with us because we love that. But the other thing that we are doing is, unfortunately, we are not planning any fun trips for fall break. We are planning a major landscaping project in our front yard
Oh,
for
wow.
fall break.
Okay.
We are cultivating our land, which is something that I said I love to do. We happen to have a yard that we're going to redo the whole front yard. We're taking out trees and we're going to be planting other trees. And so it is a good time of year to plant trees, shrubbery, things like that. And so that's kind of what we're doing with our time, is settling our house one step further.
Okay, that's great. I can't wait to see maybe some before and afters of that, Mindy.
We did take before pictures because this is such a major ordeal. But again, it's for us. Like this is how we want to live in the house. And it makes a big difference if you like when you drive up to the house or not. And I've even ordered matching front porch furniture. So a porch swing and 2 rocking chairs. And so we're totally going Southern. We are embracing all of the Southern down here with the magnolia trees and the porch swing. And I'm excited.
One of your kids is going to take up country music writing. And
I tell you what, between Tennessee and Georgia, it's all about country music. But I can't tell you how many times Bryce is like, I really need a truck. I really need a truck. Like seriously, everybody
especially if you're doing major landscape truck.
Yes. Because it's really my minivan that ends up getting used. The minivan that we will never be able to get rid of.
Oh, you're going to need some good deodorizing, smelly things in your van now.
Yes. One of my favorite places to go in town is the car wash that you drive through, and they do the whole inside and outside for like $15. You can't beat that.
No,
I'm there every couple weeks.
Yes, for sure. So speaking of landscaping, we did want to just touch on what we might do in our yards in the fall. And at first I thought, well, I don't really do anything. But this weekend I actually did get my husband to go out and trim all the bushes, and then I'll do the rest. So like I got all the clippings out. I trimmed back all my roses. My hydrangeas were just weighed down. So I cut off a bunch of branches so they weren't so heavy. I felt like I just really cleaned it up out there. And then I went and bought some mulch, and I'm going to mulch it. And like, I don't know. I think I'm going to feel better going into spring with having that kind of thing done.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's not a fun thing to do in the fall because, it's not like spring where you can't wait for all these beautiful flowers to bloom. Your things are dying and you think, well, what is there really to do? But you'll be so glad in the spring when things are like ready to go,
Right.
And so that's it is a good time to plant bushes and shrubs because it's a little cooler, but the dirt's still warm.
Right.
And around here, it's going to get plenty of water. You probably won't even have to water it.
Right.
And one of the things I do is take out, like I have window boxes and some pots on my porch, and these flowers will bloom till Christmas. I mean, if I let them, or till frost.
Nice.
But my pink and red geraniums don't really go with my orange pumpkin or my Christmas decoration. So I'll end up pulling those things out, and then I just go ahead and put my ceramic or clay pots in the garage because I've had them crack and freeze, freeze and then crack. So it's good if you just put them away. And then in the spring, everything's ready to go. And another thing, I love tulips in the spring. And every spring I think, these are so gorgeous. I want these, but I don't ever think about them until the spring. And you have to think about them now.
Right.
And that's really hard to do because who wants to plant something you're not going to see till next year,
Right.
Yeah,
I never do it.
That.
I'm not making any promises, but that's my goal is to get some tulips in the ground. So that
this is the time of year.
Yeah.
I want to do that too, Julie. That sounds really neat because I
crocus.
I
mean, there's lots of bulbs.
Yes. Yes. All the daffodils.
Yes.
And now is the time of year when you really want to weed and feed your grass. You want to have it fertilized to get through the winter. But something else that we do is we typically wait for the leaves to fall, like until they're pretty much mostly gone. And then that's when we do our mulch and stuff like that to kind of hide all of the dead that happens. So you have a clean foundation, you get the grass really fertilized, you clean up your beds. clean out your gutters on your roof. And actually down here, we're going to end up having to have our house pressure washed like once a year because there's just enough humidity that like different things like to grow on the exterior of your house, to include mold. And so I've just found a company that basically once a year, after the leaves have fallen and we're kind of done with the yard work, so we're not kicking up more dust, I'm going to have the house cleaned. And then I'll feel like it's ready to kind of go into the winter and just, try to look as pretty as possible, because nothing else is happening. So the things that are there, I want them to be clean and neat and organized and,
No, that's a great idea. Yes. And like you said, it makes a difference.
Another good thing to do this time of year is we reseed our lawn.
Yeah.
So you can do it in the spring, but then it's going to only have a few months to live. So we reseed it in the fall with more like a winter cool weather grass, and then it's green all year long and all up until the hot part of summer.
That's right.
So I used to do it myself because I borrowed my neighbor's aerator, but they moved. So now I just hire it done. So if you're going to do that, you do need to get on people's list because they get busy. So
and we'll go ahead and say you need to winterize after you reseed and fertilize. Then before the first frost, you need to then winterize your sprinkler system if you have one, so that it doesn't freeze in the winter.
Yeah, I wish I had one.
Julie is the sprinkler system.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot more to do outside than we initially think of. And it really does make a big difference for how we feel about starting spring out. So those are all great ideas. Well, hopefully I'll get more inspired. I may even buy a fall cleaning product. Who knows? I could get really wild.
Wow.
Yeah, we can compare scents then.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys next week.
All right. Happy fall.
All right. Bye. We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.